Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people doing incredible things. Hi, I'm writing my life one page at a time. I'm Trey, and I'm joined by my co host, Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Today we are joined by an incredible guest, and I cannot wait to get to talk with her. She's already been cracking us up behind the scenes already. Emily, would you do the honors of introducing our fantastic guest?
I would. We have New York Times bestselling author Jude Deveraux on the podcast today. She's written nearly 80 books and is working on more as almost as we speak. And she has at least 43 New York Times bestsellers, which is an impressive number. And I'm very pleased to introduce Jude to the show. Thank you for joining us today, Jude.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Uh, Jude, it is incredible. And being able to do some of the research that we've been able to read a little bit about your story. But for some of our listeners, would you tell us a little bit about how you got started into writing?
I had an idea for a book and wrote it down. I still handwrite everything. And I paid my next door neighbor's teenage daughter to type it, mailed it to publishing house, and they said, could we please send you, publish your book and send you a bunch of money? And I said, yes. And they said, would you write some more? I said, yes. And that was it. I haven't
That's
stopped since.
wonderful. Well, and
Yeah,
one
that was
thing that's
1979. Sorry.
no, I'm sorry. So 1979.
1979.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
And one thing that sets you apart is you didn't like necessarily what types of characters were out there. Is that right?
I had a lot of trouble at first because they didn't want the books I was writing because I didn't have the hero rape anybody. And my editor said, we can't publish this because how do we know that their hero is a virile man if he doesn't rape somebody? And I said, that's not
Okay.
love, that's not romance. And I said, I was crying on the phone and I said, just send it back to me. That's when we had hard copy. And I said, send the book back to me and I'll see if I can find somebody else. And she said, well, okay, we'll publish it, but it won't sell. It
And
did.
then 80 books later and 43 New York Times bestsellers later, I think you
Right.
proved her wrong.
Yes, I did.
Go you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandra from our chat was asking, were you a school teacher at the time that you
Yes.
were writing your first novel?
I taught fifth grade for years, 6 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, prior to becoming a school teacher, what was it that you studied in college?
I have my bachelor's degree is in art, fine arts, weaving and pottery, and a lot of art history. I had 120 hours in art history, so yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I was going to become the world's greatest weaver, and I got it. Found out that nobody was willing to pay me to do that, so I went back to school and for 2 years and got my degree in teaching elementary
Okay.
education. Yeah,
So,
Do you still do art of other kinds besides writing?
I do a lot of art things. Yeah, I do for my books. I have maps of everything, so it's all art and what I learned in art school. It's really important to me.
Yeah.
when you say maps, I take it kind of like you're writing, you do that hand drawn and you do it all yourself?
Everything, yes, hand drawn.
Wow.
Mhm. You can
Oh.
see on the picture of my coffee table with all the pens on it. I love colored pens,
Yeah,
and I draw everything. Yeah.
for our live stream audience, we have some like a photo gallery playing of photos that Jude provided for us to show. So it's going a little quickly. I couldn't figure out a way to slow it down, but they'll repeat, so it'll come back around and you'll get to see those. But yeah, you're right. That's a lot of pens. How fun.
Yeah.
And so you've got figurines in that picture too. Can you tell us about that?
Um, my this happened very recently, less than a year ago. My agent, I've not had an agent most of my career for 30 some years, and now I have one, Robert Gottlieb. He's just wonderful. I just love him. And he called me from London, and he was really excited. And he said, I've just come back from the Frankfurt Book Fair, and he said that everybody is buying fantasy novels. Can you write me a fantasy trilogy? Give me an outline. And Robert's like, I want it yesterday, kind of thing.
Wow.
So I had 24 hours. I didn't sleep, and I sent him the next morning a an outline for a fantasy trilogy, and he says, "Great, this is great. Write it." So then he took it to the publishing house, and they said, "Yeah, okay," and they were willing to buy it, and that's what I've been working on for the last year. I just a few days ago turned in the book, the first one of the two. They cut it down to two books, not a trilogy. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but because they got a 3 book story
Oh,
jamming into 2 books. But that's what I'm working on now. And so I came up with these little characters. I'd seen action figures before, just pictures of them. And I thought, hey, this is a fantasy. I can buy these, and Amazon's got a million of them. So every character I could think of, they had an action figure of it. So I started buying them. And it's been wonderful. I just love them.
so you use the action figures for to be the in place of the characters in your book.
Yeah, it's just kind of a visual thing, and they're in my head, and I look at them and see them, and it's fun to think, oh yeah, I bought 2 new characters just this week, and then I threw out the characters, so I've got this plastic box full of unused action figures. It's kind of sad. A little bit.
Maybe, maybe you can use them again.
Yeah, exactly. If these do well, I would love to write some more about my made-up planet. Yeah,
That sounds fascinating.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You've got little fairies and little animals, and
Lots of little animals.
yeah. So you were
Yeah.
you were telling us something about the because the book is going to come out soon, probably, right?
Well, actually, I thought I don't keep up with this, but I thought I had finished all the murder mysteries, but I just found out I've got one of those coming out. So it's going to be another year.
Okay.
um, I don't know when it comes out. This is 23. This is 2023,
Yeah.
so it may not come out till 25.
Okay.
Yow.
That's amazing. We have a lot to look forward to then. So as far as like the fantasy book though, the one you said you just sent over book 1 to them.
Yeah.
We were talking before the show about this. You were so excited about being able to create your own world, and one of those things you were able to create was a type of character that is kind of a hybrid. Can you talk about that?
Right. Right. It was hard at first to get into it, to think I can make this up, because I'm so used to writing. I've written 11 medievals and I don't know how many historicals. And I have to check everything. If I want someone to get from here to there, I have to check carriages and horses and saddles and what they carry with them.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I could make it all up. So as I got into that, I realized I could go crazy. And and I invented ladies, and there's people who are women who've mated with animals. These are special kind of animals, and they have these children who are half animals, and that's been a lot of fun. One of my main characters is half fox, a young man with pointy ears that twitch around, and he can hear and smell things and see really well. So that's been really an enormous amount of fun.
That sounds amazing. I love the idea that you can create your own world and you can create your own characters from whatever you want it to be.
Yes, yes. The names have been a pain because I need names that are different, that you haven't heard before, but you can pronounce by looking at them. Not things with hyphens in them, and I want things that are easy to remember. So that's been difficult, but I'm getting the hang of it.
Um, so there are a couple places online that you can use. I actually used it to create some of my Dungeons and Dragon character names, and they've actually been really nice and
Yeah.
decently readable. So I think that might offer some. But we do actually have a question in our chat from Susan, and Susan asks, "Will the fantasy books have romance or mystery?"
Ooh.
They, my agent Robert says, Jude, is this fantasy book you sent me? This is it going to have a romance in it? And I said, Robert, it's me. What do you think it's going to be? It is a pure romance, just set on a different planet, and she doesn't even know at first that she's on a different planet. And there's a long story behind that, how she's chosen for this, and when she finds out, she's very angry about it. But she gets over it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really a pure romance. Really, it's yeah.
You just have to trust that Jude knows what she's doing. And I mean, she's obviously proven herself to be amazing. So I get maybe the publishers need to I'm not going to say anything bad about publishers, but I think your track record speaks for itself.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a good.
And people think
Oh,
the publishing world is really simple and sweet with these people in wool jackets with elbow patches, and they're no, no, no. It's not like that at all. It's pretty harsh.
I was going to say it's a cute visual, but
Yeah, yes, adorable, but it's not like that. Yeah, it's pretty cutthroat. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Jude, you are getting a lot of love in our chat here. Want to just call out a couple things. Kimberly says, "I love Jude. Been reading her books for years." She said, "Legend." Shashi says, "Hi, Jude. Legend is one of my favorite books." And then they asked, "Will you write any more time travel books? I wish it was made into a movie."
ooh,
I did. My my agent Robert. This is when the pandemic came on, and he said he had all these rules that publishing was making about how you're supposed to write books now, and I said I can't do that. Um, Robert, so I'm going to retire. I'm not going to write anymore. I was really upset. And he says, no, no, do what you do best. Write time travel. Take them out of a time now and go back to the past. I said, oh, okay, I can do that. So that was my time travel. My Heart Will Find You. I think they named it, and that was a lot of fun doing with Wyatt Earp and finding how to fit it into history and going back in time. I love doing that. Yeah. I love time travel. Just love it. Yeah. Yeah.
do you do a lot of?
As,
Oh, I'm sorry, Trey.
oh no, go ahead.
Do you do a lot of research when it comes to like if someone's traveling back in time? You research that time period then?
Yes. Yes. When I first started, I had so much trouble, like for the Black Lion, to, I wanted to know what kind of wood they used in a bow and arrow. And I read 4 books about the bow and arrows. And then I put every word that I read in my book. But I mean, I lectured on the wood that was used, how it was sculpted, everything. And I sent it off, and my editor said, "Stop trying to lecture us on history. Stop it. Just tell us the story." So, so I had to go. Like I went out crying. I was crying with this, and went to Office Supply, and I bought this great big basket, which I still have. This is a long time ago, and a new pair of scissors and a whole bunch of tape. Because back then we had typed manuscripts, and I didn't type, and so I just cut out all the my like history lectures and then taped it all back together and sent it off to my typist who is in Washington State, Helen Cricky, and redid it. That was a hard lesson. That was actually my 3rd book that I wrote.
I was going to say, ask, is there a particular era that you like to write the most in, or do you just do you try to vary it up when it comes to time travel?
There are certain times that I like best. I like Elizabethan age. I liked
Mm.
early medieval cowboys the easiest, and I like Thomas Jefferson. Anything to do with Thomas Jefferson. I love Thomas Jefferson time that early revolutionary time period. Those are my favorite. Oh, and the Gilded Age. I love the Gilded Age. So those are my favorites. Yeah,
Some of mine
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not a Viking or pirate person. Yeah, never could do those.
Rhonda in the chat wrote, Jude's books are filled with emotion. Does she experience those emotions as she's writing? Tears and happiness?
Yes, yes. I feel everything that I write on a page. I cry through them all. When it comes to very emotional scene, I just bawl through the whole thing crying. I can't see, and I fall down on the floor crying. I mean, I still do it. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 some years, and I still get very involved in the anger. I feel the anger from it, just absolute rage. In this book that I'm doing that I just finished, when Kaylee found out that she was on another planet and she'd been transported against her will, she was really furious, and I felt it. I was livid. Yeah, how dare they kidnap her? And how do you sue somebody on another planet? How do you get back? It's 3 years, and she went off and up on top of a mountain and sulked for days. Yes, I felt every inch of it. I was so angry at them. Yeah.
How wonderful,
There's
though. Sorry, Trey, go ahead.
No, you're good. I love that you do that because it reminds me of like being so in the moment in theater that you're getting just so embodying so many characters, and while actors typically just embody one, you're having to embody all of them as you're writing that. Do you ever have to take time to like woo-saw and just like step away from it for a little bit?
Yes. Yes, if it gets too much, and I'm not good at murder, really bloody things and battles. I'm not very good at that because I get too involved in it. But I feel the emotion. But yes, sometimes I just have to go away. I work out a lot, and I go to the gym. Yeah, yeah.
Right. How when you go to the gym, just what do you do to kind of brush off some of that steam?
Box. I've been
Ooh.
boxing for 10 years. Heavy, hard boxing. I'm a serious boxer. Yes. I have a trainer. He comes twice a week, and I beat the heck out of his hands, or he gets in the bag. Um, Boxing. I do a lot of boxing.
That's great.
I
What?
do
Yeah.
hear that you have a mean right hook.
I have a really mean, I made a couple people cry with that. Accidentally. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a bit little bad for them, but like, how great. And going back for a second to how you have such an emotional tie to the stories you're writing, I want to say, I'm going to venture to say that this is part of what makes your work great, because you are in it. You are not just writing about it and pumping books out. You are experiencing those things just like your readers do, and I think that helps tie your readers to your work so well.
Yeah. I found that out long ago that if I'm crying while writing it, a lot of times people cry when they're reading it. I mean, when I wrote my book, Knight in Shining Armor, I
Mm-hmm.
cried for 3 days solid. I couldn't stop. I was crying and crying and crying, and wrote the end of it and kept crying for days. I just, um, he was staying behind, and that really hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Our producer Sandra, who you might know through the email conversations,
Yeah.
said, "I love." She likes. I love your She said, I love your forever, forever and always, wishes, mulberry tree, an angel for Emily. And the list is vast, she said. And a few, oh, and the Gilded Age. She loved that too, that period. I'm
Yeah,
going back in the chat a little bit. Sorry.
I
Um,
love that too.
right. And someone said, don't miss with Golden Gloves Jude.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Lori from our chat would love to know more about your binders. About specifically just about all the binders that you have. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Whenever I do a book, I do a binder. My outlines for my books are about 20,000 words. And so, yeah, right. And I try to put everything in binders and little binders. They're half size binders, A5s, English size. And label them. I make timelines. I'm a queen of charts. I tell you, I make charts like you wouldn't believe. Everything, in tables for things and whatever people are doing.
Right.
I mean,
Well, especially since you have series that involves the same characters, the same families, the same threads of
yes,
people through multiple books over years of writing. So I imagine you have to have a place to go back to reference like those things.
yes. It makes it easier and to keep track of things because, especially with my murder mysteries, they have me write a murder mystery, then a romance, and I go back and I'm like, now who are there in the murder mysteries? And then I have to go back and read my outlines and my charts and see birthdays and who's how old and where they live and all this kind of stuff and keep track with things in there. So that's great.
Yeah. I feel like I would lose track if I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Reading this chat is like a love letter to you, Jude. I hope that you know how many people watching right now just enjoy your works. We have Jan who said, we stay up all night reading Jude's books. They're wonderful. Carolyn says, if you weren't reading or if you weren't feeling everything you write the way you do, Jude, we wouldn't feel anything either.
Oh,
Kimberly
that's
says,
nice.
I love the Taggarts and the Montgomerys so much. And Jude's books are great because I tell my family about them as I'm reading them.
That's nice. That's nice. I I live with them. Uh, they're what's in my. They're pretty much my whole life. Life. That's what I like to do. Do just write all the time. Wake up at 4 a.m. and I'm hitting it.
Wow.
I've been working for 4 days now on a scene I couldn't figure out how to do. It's making me crazy. I wanted to put these two characters together in the middle of the story, and I just kept writing down facts that I knew about them and how to put it together. And then one morning I woke up at 4 a.m. and said, I know how to do it. I know how to do it. And then I sit down in my blue chair here that's in my picture and I started writing it. And the next thing I know, it's like 6 o'clock in the evening and I haven't had anything to eat. I haven't been to the bathroom since 4 a.m. I'm like, quit this. Because it's pretty much obsessive. Yeah, I would say
Right.
I'm pretty OCD. Yeah.
So when you have a day like that where you want to put two characters together and you can't figure out how and you're writing things down, facts about them, you said, do you do anything to step away for a minute? Like what are some of the things you do to kind of like rebalance your thinking on some of that?
Well, I think with a pen in my hand. I've always handwritten everything. So I just sit down with the clean paper and a pen and I just write. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. What can I do? How do I figure this out? What do I want to do? I write all this stuff. What do I want to do? And then I think I want Mikos and Iridella to fall in love. So how do I do that? They hate each other. They can't get together. I've got to get them together. And I'm writing all this stuff down, every word of this, and then finally it will eventually come to me. Maybe not that day even. because it took me
Right.
3 days to come up with this one, and I was dancing around. Woohoo! I did it! I did it! I did it! I know how to do it. And that's what I've been working on for the last, I guess, 3 days since then. So it's all together it's about 6 days. I've been working on this
Wow.
one scene. Oh,
That's really immersive for you.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm very much, yeah. Yeah, this is why I have to have a trainer. If I go to the gym and I start moving around and I'm doing some weights, and all at once I'll think, oh, I know how to do that. I will leave the gym and go back and write. So I have to get a trainer to make me stay in there for an hour. Yeah. So I got all
That's
the,
the
I have
secret.
my neighbor. I write to my neighbor here. I have good friends here in my apartment building, and my neighbor, uh, if she hasn't seen me for 3 days, she texts me and says, Jude, are you okay? Yes, I'm here. I'm still alive. I'm working. I don't go out.
That's the trick then. You to stay in the gym cuz that's what would be my issue is after 10 minutes I'm bored.
Yeah, yeah.
I need someone to keep me there.
Yeah, I got a good trainer right now. He's a retired MMA guy. He does, and he's really good. He's tough. First thing he did was hand me a 60-pound uh, kettlebell and says, "Here, pick this up and put it down. Pick it up and put it down. Do it 12 times, 12 reps." That was the first exercise. And yeah, and I did. Yeah,
Hey,
Wow.
you can't get a mean right hook from not doing nothing.
I know you got to get those deltoids up there.
I love it.
Boxing. Oh, you need deltoids. Yeah, yeah.
Susan from our chat wants to know, do you have an all-time favorite character from your books?
Hmm. No. I'm usually madly in love with this, whichever man I'm working on. I really like.
I love that.
Some of them are standing out. I wrote a book with a character named Bronwyn in it, and sometimes when I'm uh, out in real life, I'll say, "I should be Bronwyn. Stand up, you are Bronwyn. Do it," because she's very strong. I remember her very well. But I'm into whatever one I'm working on right now.
I like that.
Yeah. A couple other comments from the chat. Chanel said, "We love her immensely." Jude's books give me joy every day, Susan said. And one other question was, what magic does Jude use to help develop characters? That's what Jan asked.
I don't. This is what people ask me. This is the idea. The question I'm asked all that. Where do you get your ideas? I don't know. I don't know what is in other people's heads. Just there's stories in my head. There have always been stories in my head. I didn't know that that was different from other people, and I started writing them down. And people were saying, "Wow, this is great." And um, that's it's just like there. It's just full of stories. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know where it came from. Born with it, I guess.
That's
You,
imagination. Sorry,
Yeah.
Greg.
oh no, I think it's so representative of many different storytellers. That kind of gives me the same passion that Laura Packer does
Mm.
with coming up with her stories. Just hers are told in a different format, but they're both just filled with stories just all the time.
Right. Do you read as well? Do you have a favorite writer that you read?
I don't read fiction much anymore because uh, I sit there and think, no, no, why does she have the character do this, do that? And also, because it makes me think. It's work. But I watch a lot of videos because it's, the cold and hot medium kind of thing. And you don't have to think when you're watching TV because
Right.
it's all there.
Right.
There. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I love English murder mysteries. Yeah,
Do you really? Okay, all
yeah.
right. Dish. Which one is your favorite?
Ooh, I've been watching, well, Grant Chester's out, the new one right now. I just finished the last one of The Silent Witness, so I watched all of those. Those, there aren't many of them I haven't seen. The old ones, of course, Midsummer. I watched all of those, at least 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything Agatha Christie, I've watched all of them. Um, oh, the new one. What was that one? God, not the one with the guy from Grant Chester. Um, all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good content there.
yeah, yeah. Agatha, not Christie. Agatha Raisin. Oh, I love Agatha Raisin. She's hilarious.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but I subscribe to BritBox and PBS Masterpiece and all them. They come on.
Yeah, good stuff. Um, s- Go ahead, Trey. Sorry.
No, you're no. Go ahead.
I had a question. I didn't want to change the subject, but I wanted. So you have in your picture with all of the figurines that you are using to write your fantasy, and those characters. You also have several cameras on your table there too.
I
But
should
you
have taken those off.
tell me what you love photography, don't you?
I passionately love photography. Yes, yes. Every time I get paid, I go to B&H, which is the biggest camera store in the world. It's in New York City. And when
Mm-hmm.
I lived in New York, every week I walked down from 72nd Broadway down to Ninth Avenue to B&H and then walk back, buy myself a lens or something. And I love cameras. I'm pretty much a camera fanatic and lenses and everything about it. Yeah.
Did that start early on, or how did you get involved with
Yes.
photography? Yeah.
Yeah. I started out long time ago. My neighbor, I was saving to buy a Canon Rebel camera, big deal. This is film camera. And
Yeah.
he said, no, 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 he's professional. And he said, no, no, you get a Pentax K1000 and it does nothing. You have to know about aperture and shutter speed
Yep.
and um, everything about it. And so I learned from that. And so I still do a lot of manual stuff now because of that. That was really good advice.
Yeah, you have to
It's-
learn all the settings.
yeah, yeah. I've been using Leica camera, and they have the manual focus, and that's kind of new to me. But I've been doing manual focus. 'Cause don't get me started on photography. I'll never shut up.
Well,
I'm
that's
fanatic.
my
Yeah,
thing. I love
yeah.
photography too. I do
Oh,
quite a bit of it, so that's part of why I wanted to ask. And then we had a question in
yeah.
the chat too. So yeah, do you do because you travel a lot, so you must bring cameras with you.
Yes, yes. I get by with like 4 cameras and 7 or 8 lenses. So, yeah, I'm terrible.
No,
Uh,
this is after my own heart. I love it.
well, I just got a new Fuji, the X100 V now. I have the old X100 and I got the new V, and they're supposed to come out with another X100 in about 6 months. So, anyway,
So you're on it. You're ready for that.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you find it difficult to switch? Because that's one thing that I struggled with. Like I have Nikons and I have Sonys, and I struggled with the settings between. Like I got so used to Nikon, then when I switched to Sony, then I was lost. Where are these
It's
settings?
sweet. Oh, I have a Sony A1
Uh
and
huh.
I've been using my Leica um, and my Fuji, and I picked it up and I'm like, okay, how do I see the pictures? I forgot, just went out of my head. But it comes back. It comes back. And
Yeah.
then there's the Sony menu, which is, oh my God. Yeah, Sony menus are horrific.
I absolutely. Sorry,
I
Sony, if
can't
you're listening. Fix your
I
menus.
can't find the AP. I spent 20 minutes trying to find the APS-C listing on the. I know. Yeah, Sony menus are not for the faint-hearted. Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
where's your favorite place to travel and take pictures?
I travel all over the world. I go every year. with the same people, about 200 of us, and travel, and we go for months at a time, and everywhere. I like Africa's wonderful because there's so many colors and bright, and the sun is wonderful. Um, but I also like Europe. I like it all.
Yeah.
These are pictures. These are taken in Nepal and Ghana, and the Himalayan up Mount Everest. I was
Here, I'll
right
go
by Mount
back.
in Brazil.
Okay.
Um, the one with the sloth is from Brazil, Amazonia actually,
Wait.
and
Oh,
Madagascar, the lemur.
that's the lemur. Yeah.
Yes.
Was he
They're so
friendly?
cute. Oh, they're just wonderful. Um, they hug you. I had to give my camera to somebody else to take, and the guy's like he snaps one picture of the lemur in a tree, and then he was on my the lemur was hugging me. It was on my shoulders, and he didn't take any pictures, so I missed that.
Oh.
The elephants are in Nepal.
Okay.
Uh,
That was
too,
here.
too. Yeah, and there were three of them. You can't see them there. And I was hugging one of the trunks of one of them and stroking. Then the other two came over and nudged me sideways. They wanted to be hugged too, so I had to hug all three elephants.
Of
They're
course.
really
Oh,
they wanted to be, and the guys on top they love their elephants and they're smiling because everybody else is kind of afraid of them. Not me. If I hear on my ship with my group that I travel with every year, if I hear somebody yell "Jude will," then I know it's to do with an animal. It's some weird, creepy
I love it.
boa constrictor, something. Jude will, yeah. Monkey on a chain, sloths with 4-inch long claws. Yeah, Jude will. Yeah, and I do. I love them.
That's
Then,
I can relate to this. I love it.
yeah, they're so sweet and they're
Mhm.
so grateful. And if you love them, they love you back. Yeah,
Yep, I believe that.
yeah.
And you obviously
I
have a knack for it. Go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry.
I heard somewhere that elephants look at us like we look at just small pets of some sort. They kind of look at us with this just general fondness for things. Just incredibly intelligent creatures, but also have this incredible amount of empathy towards us.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm putting that on my bucket list. Hug an elephant.
Oh, they're very gentle and sweet. I went up to the first elephant I was near, and I went to her, and I knew it was a girl, and I said, very quietly, "You have the most beautiful eyelashes I have ever seen in my life. You are so pretty." And this huge elephant stuck her trunk out and wrapped it around me, and everybody started screaming. Ah! And, and I knew she was just hugging me, and I wasn't afraid, but they're screaming. And
Aw.
the ones I like, I didn't see the picture of the when I with the huge 500-pound tortoises on Galapagos.
Oh
I
yeah.
really love them. Yeah. I squat down with them and they'll just come up and you're not allowed to touch them on Galapagos, but they
Oh.
can touch you. So if you squat down with them, they will come up and rub their hard little heads on your cheeks and your shoulders and things.
The tortoises do?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
wow.
Because they know you. I just sit there and just talk to them and say, I just think you're beautiful, you're wonderful. And they know it, they feel it, they understand it. It's just me.
How wonderful. You're the animal whisperer.
Yeah, I love the animals.
I aspire to
Yeah.
be like this. I've conquered chipmunks, and we're working on crows next. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
one day elephants and sloths and lemurs and tortoises.
Yeah, big tortoises.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I love and the big snakes, they're pretty friendly too.
yeah.
Yeah. And koalas love you. Koalas hug you back. They do.
Oh,
Yeah. They're
Oh,
sweeties. They're sweeties. Yeah. They're heavy little things. And, but they hug you and just
where
snuggle up with you.
where did you go for koalas? Was that Australia?
Yes, I've been to Australia many, many times, and they have parks where you go and you hug a koala, and the kangaroos, the little kangaroos come up. They're quite tame. The ones they have, the big ones,
Really?
they're lovely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise you hear about kangaroos having a mean right hook as well.
yeah. They
Uh,
don't have any of those there. They have the smaller ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
so
No, it'd be
there,
fun to be in a boxing match with a kangaroo. Yeah, I can duck pretty good.
I,
They're about
I,
my
I want to say like somewhere back in the 90s, I have like very vague memories of watching this animated cartoon of a kangaroo boxing match with somebody. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to say at some point someone's trying to do that.
yeah. Many they still do it. Yeah, they do it, and they put gloves on them,
What?
but they're really strong. Yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, no,
I mean, you're pretty brave, but I don't think that's. Yeah.
no,
We have a question in the chat is what is Jude's favorite Star Wars character? Do you have a favorite Star Wars character?
I'm not a Star Wars person. Much. I've done a lot of Star Trek.
Okay.
I always
okay.
liked that a lot. That not Star Wars. Mm-mm.
Have you watched any of the newer Star Trek series that they've come out
I
with?
watched Mandalorian. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I love
the
that
first
one.
series, and then it got kind of yucky. But yeah, I love the little Yoda, the baby Yoda.
Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a cute one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. There's Star Trek Discovery is one of their newer series, and I really like that one. It's got a powerful female lead, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching The Witcher, the first series, the first year of The
Yeah.
Witcher. Oh my goodness, I've watched it 3 times. I love The Witcher. It's faded out now, but they with Henry gone. That's
Yeah. The new
but I love.
the new season is out, but I love The Witcher too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Did you watch The Wheel of Time when that came out?
No,
Okay. I thought that was interesting too.
mm-mm, didn't watch that. No, I like Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the chat just blew up with Henry Cavill in
Yes.
everybody is commenting about Henry
Oh
Cavill.
yeah. Yeah, I've been involved in all that.
Right.
Yeah, giving my opinion of it. And this last 3 episodes were just dreadful, horrible,
Oh,
horrible. The seventh episode was unbelievably bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it was
am
such a
not
shit.
caught up.
But you can skip the last three.
Oh, okay. Well, if Henry Cavill's still in it, I think I might be able to get through it.
He's not in episode 7. Skip that. He's in the last a little bit, but they mostly took him out. I, don't-
I
I,
see.
it-
I see. Do you ever watch? There was another question about how you create characters, and I just thought of this question, and that was: do you ever watch a series like that and think about your own characters that you've created, and kind of does that help you to create characters, or are you able to draw on that at all?
um, I guess so. I think it all blends in my head because I've watched so many fantasy things. I've watched the whole Hobbit series. I couldn't count the number of times, and I'm passionate Tolkien fan.
Yep.
Um, and it all mixes up and comes out, but I hope it's original. I haven't stolen anything. I hope.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to suggest that. I guess.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no. I didn't think you were.
Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. Sandra said Emily Hobbit. Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's work as well.
No,
And
yeah.
we gave Trey a lot of grief for not having seen Lord of the Rings for a long time, and he finally watched it.
Oh my gosh, really?
yeah. I think it was like what, about 8 months or so. I finally watched the entirety of the not the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah,
We're proud
yeah.
of him.
Everybody likes Lord of the Rings better. I like the Hobbit better.
Do
I
you?
like the characters in it very, very much. I like the first one, and I tend to quote it in my books and stuff. And I even had in this one, she has a copy of The Hobbit, and she's reading it to these characters in a cave on a snowy night, I think, because they
That's
don't have books on my island.
wonderful.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about second breakfast?
Yeah.
That's my best. That's my favorite phrase.
Second, and 11 says, and what about tea? And what about
Oh.
supper? And what about dinner? Right. This is no, no, no. I think that's it. This is it. Yes, that's it.
Yes, we want all of those.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
sorry, Jude. My boyfriend will actually quote that sometimes, and I'll make a statement of some sort, and then he'll just say, "Well, what about seconds of that? What about elevensies of that?" And we'll just keep going on.
Exactly. And I'm going on an adventure. He's saying,
Yes.
every time I go to Wellington, New Zealand, I go see the Weta workshop, and I go
Oh,
see
yeah.
the Hobbit Village. So I've been to each 3 times now, and take a lot of pictures and just wander around and look at the place, and it's wonderful. They made Jackson. He had to tear it down, and it was so popular that he rebuilt it, and now it's just the doorways, but it's there, and you can see it from the movie. It covers a few acres, and then the Weta workshop is wonderful. Wonderful. I go there. I go
Yeah.
there.
It's
I
on
was
my
just
bucket
there.
list.
I was there just a few weeks ago with Peter DeVries. He's a very, very famous photographer. He was on our ship, and he was there, and he and I bonded over that because he had me take a picture of him with one of the big trolls, that life-size
Oh,
trolls.
yeah, the cave trolls or
Yeah,
the ones in the woods. Yes, I know which ones you're talking about.
the big three. The big
They're
three.
there
They're there.
too.
There's one of them there. They have the yes, the Weta. Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it's on my bucket list, and I want to go, but I didn't know that there were any trolls there.
yeah. It's where they make everything. They won't let you go in the back of it, but they have 3 rooms there you can go through, and then outside they have a troll out there too. That's really nice. And they have a gift shop, which I go kind of crazy on.
Yeah, I would too. Of course. I would take a million pictures and yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
We were talking about
yes,
trying to get somebody from Weta on the show because I think that would be a good interview as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I would do that. Yeah, that's good.
Someone in the
And
chat said Trey needs to read the Lord of the Rings books.
Oh.
Next up, Trey.
What I will say is, I love Neil Gaiman, and if Neil Gaiman and Tolkien write very much the same way, I will have no problems.
I've never read his. I've seen him on The Big Bang Theory. Neil Gaiman. He's on there, and he makes a little cameo
Mm-hmm.
appearance, and they talk about him a lot on Big Bang Theory. But I've not read any of his stuff really.
I
But
haven't either. So I can't
Uh,
help you with that, Trey.
I just know that they're both very descriptive of things. That's
Sorry. Yes.
then
Yes.
yes, okay, we'll go with that.
well, The Hobbit's shorter. Read that first. First, The
Oh,
Hobbit's
yeah, that's true.
it's much
Okay,
smaller.
You could start with The Hobbit.
okay, okay.
And
I'm not going to make any.
chronologically, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say chronologically, that makes more sense anyway. Um, Shashi in the chat says, "Can you tell Jude how much her book club loves her? We read a book each month and discuss." There are several people from this book club in the chat that have been watching.
No, it's nice. Yeah, they're great. They're great, my ladies. And I get excited about things and write a newsletter thing, send it to them, what I'm doing to them
That's
always.
wonderful. You have such such a lovely group of people that are read your books and follow your career and cheer you on and are part of your world. And I think it's awesome, this community that you've built with this, whether you realize it or not. I think it's wonderful.
No, thank you. That's nice.
Yeah, they said the best book club ever.
Oh, that's nice. I know they have contests. They do contests and things. Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Hello to all of you in the club.
They love it. So,
Yeah.
do you have travel plans coming up? Are you looking forward to going anywhere soon?
Yes, I have 3 more trips this year. Um, and then in 24, I'm staying home for a whole year. This is
Oh.
wild. To write the second book of this fantasy thing and then to plot some. And then 2025, I'm going on another 5-month cruise. And we start out in Tokyo in January, um, which is really cold, really, really cold.
Yeah.
But I've been to Russia. I go to Russia on the eastern side of Russia, Kamchatka, Vladivostok, which is really cold. It's north of Siberia, and
Wow.
been to Antarctica often. So, so I'm hoping I'm going to be used to it. Everybody's saying that Tokyo in January is pretty horrific, but there are monkeys that go into hot springs there, and I'm going up to photograph them. Yeah,
Oh, that's
That's so
awesome.
cool.
yeah, that's the whole thing is about. So it'll be on 5 months on that trip, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What an adventure.
yeah, yeah. And
Jude,
like,
is there any chance you need an assistant for this trip?
the funniest thing, people are always volunteering to travel. You travel alone? Yeah, right. No, I travel with 200 people I know. No, I hide out in my cabin sometimes, often, as they will tell you. But they're friends. We've traveled together a long time, and they're friends, and they protect me from people who get on and start pestering me about, can you get my book published and get me a million
Oh.
dollar movie deal? No, I cannot. Go away. Leave me alone.
That's hard, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of love out there for you, but there's a respect level too that
yeah.
yeah, that's hard.
No.
Do you I one thing I like to there's a lot of people out there that see what you do and they want to write too. And they want to become writers, they want to delve into that or just maybe try it out and see if they like writing. Do you have any advice for somebody who maybe wants to dabble in what you're doing?
They need to actually do it. This is what I encountered for 40 some years. People say, I want to be a writer. No, you need to write first. Just sit down and write it, start it, do it. And how do you start? I don't know. You start with one sentence and add another sentence and add another sentence. There is no way to do it. If you talk to any writer, they all do it a different way. And everything's legal. You can start in the middle of a book. You can
Yeah.
write a character. You can do whatever you want. The main thing is to actually do it. Stop thinking about money. Stop thinking about autographing. Stop thinking about movie deals. Write the book. Look, that's what I hear mostly is movie deals. People come up to me and say, I want a movie deal. You didn't get me a movie deal. And yeah, right, right. It's not my, I like the books. So that's the big problem.
Wow. Yeah, one step at a time.
Oh, write the book,
Right.
right? Write a good book. That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah, I think every author that we've interviewed so far has had similar advice, but definitely get in there and just start and at least
Yeah.
write something and hone
Yeah.
hone
Do
your
it.
craft.
And stop talking about, well, I have an idea for a book. How do I sell it? Who do I tell that I have this idea for? How do I get a publisher? How do I get an agent? And you have an idea for a book? It takes 1,000 ideas. Every sentence is an idea. I can't
Yeah.
get anybody to understand this. They either write or they don't write, or they talk about writing.
Yeah.
Do it.
You have to make the idea be more than an idea to be a
Yeah,
writer.
you have to actually do it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not as easy as people think. It takes a obsession to do it, and keeping track of all your characters and what they said. And uh, I had a big problem. I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning and said, "Oh my God, I forgot that he already told this. He thought this, but he didn't tell anybody this. But then I have somebody referring to it. It was a major rewrite to go back and fix that. It seems like a simple problem, but he had to tell somebody so they knew it.
Right.
It- yeah, rewriting is half of it. Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard from several authors that rewriting is something that some people do, some authors do because they aren't happy with it or they feel it needs fine tuning. And then there's also publishers that'll ask them to rewrite parts, and that it's kind of a constant rethinking of the story sometimes.
Yes. You can get editors can ruin a lot of books. They're really good at that. Yeah.
Editors can
Oh,
ruin.
brilliant at reading it. Really good. Can you switch this chapter with that chapter? Well, no, because this chapter happens before this these events, and yeah, I have an editor now who leaves me alone. That's the best I can ask.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that
One.
also speaks. Oh, I think that speaks to the relationships that you build, and you learn to just kind of get to know people, and like once they see your vision for something, then they support it and they go, "Yep, she knows what she's doing. Just give me more
No,
time travel."
no, my agent does that. Editors don't. You have to say, I'm now to the point where I say, no, I don't want to do that. I'll sell the book somewhere else, and they leave me alone. But
Oh.
my
Oh,
agent's wonderful. He's great. He's fabulous. He's I love Robert. I'm going to see him next month. Yeah,
That sounds like a good agent to have that you can't wait to see
yeah,
him. That's good.
yeah, yeah. Karen Robart's a friend of mine. She got him for me. She says, I think Robert could help you, and we just hit it off really well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I do have a question, and that ties in with a question Rhonda asked too, and that was, I what is it like to co-write with someone else? For instance, Tara Sheets, that was one person that was brought up. But how does co-writing work?
I didn't really I couldn't really say it's a co-write.
Oh,
Um, Robert, but it is called that. Robert asked me to come up with a trilogy plot that somebody else could write. And because the publishing house wanted to use my name, and a lot of writers are doing that. So I came up with this kind of time travel thing where something happened in the past that this man has to fix. So I wrote that. Actually, the funny thing is I wrote it while I was in Ghana, which always reminds me of my Ghana book. And I sent it to him, sent him the outline of it, and he found a writer for it. And she had some questions about it. And how did this happen? How did that? So I rewrote the outline to answer her questions, and that was it. I gave it to
okay.
her, and she wrote the books, and I had nothing else to do with it. I never. It was in my contract that I could reread. I could read them before she turned them in, but that never happened.
Okay.
So
Interesting. I wondered how that worked.
yeah, I just wrote the outline for the plot of the
Okay.
book, and my plots are pretty long. It wasn't one of my 20,000 word plots, but in fact, I did send a long one into Robert, and he says, "Can you cut this down to 3 pages?" It's like he said first time he wasn't about to read 20,000 word outline. So
That's
okay.
wonderful.
Jude, I want to make sure we know that you have this incredible book club that's with us here, but we also want to make sure that our listening audience is able to connect with you in wherever you're the most active. Is there any social media that you would like to share with our listening audience?
No, I don't have any. Um, that's enough. There with them, that's all I do. They have an Instagram thing that my pictures are posted there.
Yeah.
Um, that's it. I don't go on Twitter, nothing else. That's enough.
So, right. So Jude's website has links to accounts that are pictures that are posted professionally for her, but she doesn't have any personal accounts. So if you go to Jude's website, you can see that you can follow her work on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. And Goodreads is another one I saw, which is excellent. So those would be good ways to follow her work.
Well, Jude, I have to say, this has been incredible. I love how much fun and how much passion that you have, and I'm happy that we have another Lord of the Rings fan to join our
Yes.
our, our book club.
Oh yeah.
From sincerely, it has been such a pleasure to have you on. You are an incredible woman, and I cannot wait to read your next your fantasy book when it comes
Yeah.
out.
Ah, thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. That's exciting.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, as we close this episode out here tonight, I definitely want to thank everyone for joining us here. This episode, along with every other episode, will always be in memory of Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, passionate encourager, and greatly missed friend. You can find us pretty much wherever you tune into podcasts. For updates, announcements, and more, please follow us on social media under Modern Romantic. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day.